Hey there, this is Vic Benedict. We're playing Ninja Gaiden 2 on Master Ninja with Advanced Tactics. The first tactic on this chapter is you want to take out the turrets here. There are 8 of them. 8 of them that spawn, that is. So what I'm doing, there are 2 up here, and if you just want to get one right after the next, there's going to be 7 on this side, and then when you go over to the left, there will be just that one turret. You can go back and forth if you want to, but I don't see the point to doing that. Anyway, this is called the Flying Fortress Daedalus. It's chapter 7. So after we complete this chapter, we will be halfway done with completing the game, since there are 14 chapters in this game. And I don't believe you get very much for killing these things. I think it's less than 200 in essence. So let's see which one this is. If I move over, it's because I've been counting while I'm playing. So also, the reason I'm waiting for it to move is because it doesn't fully spawn until a second or two after you actually see it materialize there. But there's the last one right there. That's a total of 8. It just depends whatever amount you want to shoot. Like, you can shoot 5 on one side, 3 on the other, just as long as it equals 8. And we have 2 gun turrets on either side. It's very generous, the hit detection on these things. So there's those 2. And then once you take out the second one on this side, the doors are going to open, and we're going to have executors marching out. Now, these guys can be used to grind for money after the first save point. I'm not going to go into it, but I do go into it on, I believe, on every time I've done this guide, I talk about it. So if you want to know how to do the executor exploit, as I refer to it, simply watch one of my other guides for video 7. When you kill those guys, though, you have to be guarding, or you will take heavy damage. So the scythe works really well on them. But we are going to be getting a really fantastic weapon in this chapter. It's called the Tonfa. And I just love it. It has the most powerful UT of any weapon, because the mech soldiers that you face later in the chapter can be killed with a standard ET of that weapon. And it's just a very fun weapon to use. I used to not like it very much, but it's definitely for advanced players, so I'll be incorporating it. And now we're going to go to the shop over here. And do you see how much money I have? Where is it? I have over 200,000 essence. That's a lot of money, and I haven't been grinding for money. The reason I have so much money is because I haven't been buying very much in the way of items, and I've been, I haven't really maxed out many items here. This is the 3rd weapon that I'll be upgrading to level 3 because I think it's a very important weapon. And I'm also staying away from upgrading the dragon sword, as I've mentioned before, because A, I want a harder experience up until chapter 11, and B, because why pay the 40,000 when starting in chapter 11 they're just going to give you the free upgrade to level 4, and it's going to be the true dragon sword. Now, a lot of people, they ask me, can you please help me with mentor mode, and can you please make a guide for mentor mode? The thing about that mentor mode is that instead of the gray ninjas, a lot of the times they have these enemies, these gun ninjas here, the artillery ninjas. So they're the same as the gray ninjas, you guys that are asking for that, except that when they're in high numbers, you're going to get a lot of chip damage from the other guys who are shooting at you. And they're actually pretty damn hard, and it's kind of ironic in in chapter 4 where you face the giant brute fiend. You have what is it? You have a couple of like stationary archers or stationary guys with like these guys here, but they're the guys with the machine guns. and they didn't put them on this version of the game. But the thing about that is, or that request that I often get, is that if you need help with mentor mode, watching my guides will more than suffice for dealing with mentor mode. You know, it's all the same bosses, it's pretty much the same enemies. It's just that the majority are these guys here. And honestly, I think that these guys are a tad bit more annoying, and just because of the fact that you get guard locked so easily, I think they're a little bit tougher than the Grey Ninjas because they have all the same movesets as the Grey Ninjas. Anyway, I did make a mistake up here of not getting the chest. There's 2 chests in this room. What I should have done, and what I would advise you to do so you don't make the same mistake, it wasn't like a huge and egregious mistake or anything, but I should have gone and ran for that chest because it would have given me 7,000 in essence. You see that chest right up there to the top left? And instead it gave me a few paltry orbs. All it did was give me like 3 or 4 orbs. It was really bad. But I can sympathize with people who have to deal, because yes, we do face these guys quite a lot in the coming chapters, but they start you out fighting these guys on mentor mode, and that's the problem. Well, is it mentor? I think you still have to face some IS ninjas in the very first fight on mentor mode, but you definitely fight these guys a lot in chapter 1. So anyway, yeah, so this was a mistake. I knew it opening it up. I just said to hell with it. You know, that's hardly anything for recompense. That right there, you're going to have to, if you want to calculate that, go for it. But this is the area where you do the Executor exploit after you kill these guys and go back and save it. You can sit here. I've sat here and grinded for money before, up until I had like 300,000 and had like every weapon already upgraded. It's just not even necessary. For me, anyway. I mean, I'm not trying to sound conceited, it's just that I have all that money, but it's just that I haven't been buying items. And I'm trying to just really determine which items I really need and which weapons are indispensable for me in my for my move sets, and which I can do without. Like, I don't really use the Falcon Talons, and I don't ever use the Kasari Gamma. And I could live with this Dragon Sword being at level 2, and I actually prefer it because it makes the game harder for me, and that's exactly what I need. I actually wish this game had a higher difficulty. I would pay good money for like an Ultimate Ninja version of this game. Even though Ultimate Ninja is like the gayest descriptor you could have for difficulty, Master Ninja, it should be, you know, considered the highest tier of difficulty. But anyway, the Executors are going to come out here, and again, I'm not going to explain how to do the glitch. I've gone over that before. If you want tips, just watch my other videos in my guides. So just remember, you have to guard, or if you're not at full health, you'll just take heavy damage. So there is the first 2 Executors, and then you fall back here and just kind of await the guy's arrival. There's going to be 2 more of these guys. The thing about these guys, though, is they are worth 1,400 in essence. That is the same amount of money you get for killing a gold Van Gelf. So what it is, it's like a severed head, like controlling the mechanism. Right there, I was just trying to demonstrate 1,400 right there. And now we're going to be facing an enemy that I don't know the name of it. I think it's a mech soldier, a mecha soldier. I believe that's what it was called in my guide when I used to have a guide for Sigma 2, and this game actually. but they use a lot of generalities in that book, especially for the descriptors of enemies. Like, for instance, they would call the IS ninjas melee ninjas. So when you see that that charred face on these guys, that means they're in OT status. So now this confrontation down here, we just have the gun ninjas, and then we're going to go through the door. I actually really like this chapter. I think it's pretty fun. So the really great thing about this game is that you'll get a lot of chip damage, but it's nowhere near the bullshit that is in Ninja Gaiden 3 with chip damage just going out of control. Like, I'm sure people could do this game with no damage. I'm actually kind of curious. I've always been kind of curious. Like, you see a lot of hardcore players, you know, playing the old ones, Ninja Gaiden 1 and Black, taking no damage. I bet you could probably do a no damage guide for this game, or a playthrough. You know, I don't know. You just have to be really careful and be rather cheap, but I think it could be done. Anyway, so now you have to smash the control console, and then I'm moving the camera away from me just to show you that the light turns from red to green. So what I do here is charge a UT and get a couple of guys in OT status. What you want to do, though, is use the iframes in the evade to get close to these guys, and then do the Y attack to OT them. These guys are going to be really problematic in Chapter 8. Is that the snow level? I really like the snow level, that kind of Russian level. You know, no real need to go too much into depth about these guys. It's basically OTs, but these guys can be killed with a Tonfa ET, which is just baffling, but I love that weapon so much, and I'm going to be showing you some really good techniques for that particular weapon. Anyway, so you could save before this room, but just bear in mind that once you come in here, you can't save. So there's a nice X parry, and he followed it up with a beautiful second move afterwards, which sundered the limb of the other guy and outright killed him. If you want to take that back and rewind it. So there, I did a little shuriken canceling, and that guy was hopping away, and I cut right through him and cut him in half. A lot of people really depend on shuriken canceling, but I don't need to really put it into my repertoire. I can get by without shuriken canceling. Anyway, this room, you can also repeatedly have the enemies spawn by killing these two guys and then approaching the red laser fence. You don't have to actually touch it and take damage, but that does work out if you want to bring two more guys into the room every time and get money. But there really is no need to... Like, I was... I was underestimating how good I was before on, well, not really Campaign 2, because Campaign 2, I did need a lot of money because I was doing all the Tests of Valor. But when I first played this game, Campaign 1, I doubted myself. But now, that just does yourself a disservice, in my opinion. But maybe at that time I did need to improve as a player. So anyway, you have the upper hand here because the enemies are at their computer consoles. See how you can get stunned to the point where if you... I hate to keep saying if you want to rewind that, but yeah, if you take that back and rewind it, I wasn't even guarding, But that whole time I was getting stunned by those bullets. I couldn't even... I was trying to press the left trigger to guard, but I was so stunned in that animation, that consistent stun, that I couldn't even guard until they stopped firing. So what you have to do here is hit all the computer consoles and the towers beside the controls. The computer towers right there that I just smashed. And then do the same with this. And then after that, just make sure you smash the vials with the flames inside of them. If after you destroy these things here that I'm shooting at currently and it doesn't, the door doesn't open, that means that you haven't destroyed the computer consoles enough. So just keep hacking and slashing at them. So a couple more over here I didn't see. Okay, so there's the door, it's open, but I'm going to go back here and get a few more arrows. And I believe we have some enemies to greet us, as per normal. So, what you can do instead of charging headlong into the fray there like I did, is you can snipe those guys. Because there's a, you know, the main walkway when you get up there. But if you go down, there is a little descent that you could hide behind. So here we got a couple of stragglers. I'm gonna kill these guys, and then where are we? I think we're at the safe statue over here. Okay, so we have a save and a store. Two scenarios will play out here. It's just random. What happens is, do you see the two archers down there? Down that hallway? They either come over here or they stay put over there. It just kind of depends where they decide to set up their shop. So I just play however it works out. But for the purposes of demonstrating on landing ETs to stun in the air, well, not that. What you need to do, I've mentioned this a couple of times. You jump, fire an arrow to stun them, and then when they're stunned, you come down and do your on landing ET. Sometimes the ET and what they're firing will collide and cancel each other out, so you're going to have to keep shooting at them. What happened here actually was I passed a tripwire point that set into motion the next group of enemies, and I got lag. So that's exactly what I was talking about in Chapter 4 about the lag and not triggering extra tripwire points, because that does cause lag, as can be evidenced on screen right now. Even if you can't feel it, you can kind of see the delay. And when you have essence staggered, you can even, you don't even really need to depend on the ET, because you probably get away with doing a UT. So I'm going to get my iframes by evading over to him, and then I'm going to back off, jump, stun, on landing ET. That's the way to deal with these guys from a distance. I mean, you're really going to have to get good at it in Chapter 8 too. So that is why there's no enemies in this hallway, because they move forward. Anyway, on that bunk over there is a corpse, but he just has a notebook and I don't need it. Now we're going into this room. The enemies are alerted right when the door opens for you, so it's hard to get the upper hand here. But there is one, the computer tower that I'm going to hit in a second, it contains orbs, essence totaling 1,000. But what I'm going to do is just charge a UT off those orbs. unnecessary, but you know, might as well do it. It's fun. And I also have the you've probably heard it, but I have the Japanese voice actors on it, and with English subtitles. He actually, the sound effects are all different too when you put it on Japanese, so you can always tell. Especially with that flying swallow, it's a markedly different sound effect, and I would just definitely recommend playing with the Japanese voices, since this is a Japanese game. So up here we have a box with, that'll either give you, you know how it works, it'll either give you the money or the bats. If it's the bats, just quickly switch to the lunar and rapidly tap on the Y button. Here is a Lives of the Thousand Gods. I now have 5 of those in my possession, so I might actually use one of those pretty soon to give myself a little more health. Right now you just need to charge your sword, because you're going to have a couple of rushers coming into this room, and then two gun archers across the way. So there is a nice wide parry for you. Eviscerated. And now, you guessed it, jump stun on landing ET. But what happens over here? This didn't work out perfectly, but I loved it and I ran with it, because it's probably not going to work perfectly for you unless you get like a perfect run. But you see how my on-landing ETs are often connecting with these guys' rockets. I think it happened. No, it didn't happen right there. But that is the best way to deal with those guys, because they're going to be very problematic in the next chapter. So I'm going to finish this guy off with an OT and then save my progress, but not before I go over here first of all and get the Piercing Void. This is a very good tool, and I'm just going to show you where the Test of Valor is. I don't think I'll be competing in it, because I don't think it's just going to work out for me. But from here, you want to go down. The reward, by the way, is a Talisman of Rebirth. We have a box here. We have 2 corpses. Here's the Tonfa. I'm going to upgrade that to level 3 as soon as possible. Here are some incendiary shurikens, and here is a Grains of Spiritual Life, which for me was 7,000 in essence. Okay, now we're going to go through the door here, do a flying swallow on this guy with the rocket launcher right there. And since we just first got this weapon, I can't yet do the Azuna drop, but I will show you how to do it. Here's its UT, the Tonfa's. The Tonfa's a pro weapon in my opinion, because you just don't see many people playing it, and it's a shame because it's a great tool. It's devastatingly powerful, like I mentioned. And I'm going to be upgrading it to level 3 at the first opportunity I can get, which is going to be pretty soon. But you can at least do the Flying Swallow with this weapon. And you just don't have too many moves. I believe you have XX, forward, XX, 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 among a few others that you can do. So this should be the last guy, and then we'll be having the mech soldiers coming in through the gate. And make sure you have your void equipped, because one void, if it connects properly, will kill these guys. Same will a level 1 ET with this weapon, which is just out of this world crazy. But see how you can aim the UT as well? Or I did a UT right there, but I only used one Piercing Void because I just didn't want to waste too much Nimpo. And here, this guy is an OT status, so I'm just going to take him out. We're going to have to face a lot of those guys in the next chapter. Here's the store. I'm going to leave in all the footage. I'm going to have a lot less money when I get out of this store, to be sure. I only bought 2 Devil Way mushrooms there because I knew there was another one coming up. But ironically, I forgot about it in my campaign, so I wasted, potentially, got some money wasted off. But here I'm upgrading the weapon to level 3. And how many do I have? 1, 2, 3. I have 4 weapons up to level 3. But I only have, I can't even afford a Talisman of Rebirth at this point. but it's not going to be necessary because even though Genshin has some lackeys, it's going to be a fun battle because I did it without using Nimpo, and I also used the Falcon's Talons, which I now have up to level 2. I could have them up to level 3, and it would have made the fight a little bit easier. Not because you can fly, swallow a Xenodrop, kill the lackeys, and you can, but you don't need the level 3 Falcon's Talons to do that. They'll get killed with one fly, swallow a Xenodrop with the Falcon's Talons. So here, does that kill them? Does it? Let me see if this ET kills them. No, I did a UT on him. I believe an ET will kill these guys as well. So if you didn't see, the Armadillo is to the right through the gate. We'll be fighting him as well. He's very easy with the daggers. And then once you open that door, just dash to the left and then destroy these things. Looks like you have to have a UT, an arrow UT to kill those. Although I'm sure several ETs would kill them as well. So just doing some baby steps around the corner. Here's enough of an angle so that I could hit that thing. Press LT to get off the stairs. Then I'm just going to survey the sky from left to right. Really beautiful. And we're going to be hitting that save point, but don't do as I did over here and forget about that Devil Way mushroom. It's on a corpse, and I just plain forgot about it because I was having fun with this weapon at level 3. So here I'm going to... I think I released the charge. No, I do the charge. And the music you hear in the background is the music that is on the staircase battle in Chapter 10. So now you're going to have a couple of these guys down here. And sometimes these guys don't even do anything. Like in the next chapter, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. They just stand there and don't shoot, even though they could shoot you. You're in their line of sight. They're in yours, but they don't shoot you. So definitely take advantage of that. Coming in here, these guys are all ready for you. So if you have to do the guillotine throw to have your iframes so you don't get hit by the rocket launchers. Looks like this guy is severed. I'm going to try to do that, connect with it. What I don't like though with this weapon, there's the Xenodrop. It's XXY XXY. Provided you do it quickly and you don't get interrupted when you're trying to do that combo. One thing that I was mentioning that I don't like with this weapon is when you throw a guy into the wall via the guillotine throw. There was a parry. What happens is you can't immediately press the Y for an OT. Some weapons, it just works out to that to where like the enemy has to recover a bit and then you can go over to him and press the Y button. But it can be disastrous, like on the staircase battle or in the opening section of Chapter 11. So we got a couple of rocket launcher guys. That guy's toast. And the thing about the chest of it to the left is it has, it'll give you 7,000 if you're healed up all the way, and if you have all your grains maxed out. But since I can't come back to this location, I'm just going to have to sacrifice it and get a little health. And then we're going to have a cutscene up here, which I've trimmed out. And then we're just kind of backtracking. Watch out for these guys, though. These guys really snuck up on me. I mean, I knew the room was occupied, but I didn't realize that guy was going to do the cartwheel attack so fast on me and put me in just an animation that I couldn't get out of. So you can still do the 360 Y attack with this weapon as well. And he does a little twirl. I think I demonstrated over here. So check this out. It's over here somewhere, I believe. On one of these guys. I should rip his legs off. There we go. I actually just killed him outright. Okay, I think Yeah, counterattack that guy, he's dead. Now this room you can just charge an attack. I think this is where, yeah, I just released. So the boss fight it's not hard whatsoever. I mean, he has lackeys, but we have pretty good tools at our disposal to deal with him. And if you want to use magic, go for it. The nice thing is when you start the Armadillo, they fill your health up. So now there is a point in the fight where I'm almost dead, but he's almost dead too, so I knew that if I just hit him a couple more times, then I could get refilled. For some reason there they pointed me in the wrong direction. Your safest bet right there is just it isn't to charge, but I mean, it doesn't really matter anymore. I love getting these iframes. See, iframes from the roll, throw them in there, throw this guy there. Okay. So I'm going to do an UT on this guy. And then I'm going to point this chest out. I'm going to go out of my way to point it out. Same deal. It has 7,000 in essence or grains of spiritual life. But if you have your maxed out grains and the health on your damage on your person, it's just going to give you the blue orbs. So what you need to do is go to the save point first before you open that chest. When you open this door, though, you notice that I got shot up really badly. But they do the turrets relent if you just go into the very, very edge of that door, the corner there. So here's the save point right up here, and then through that door is the boss battle. And what I did in the meantime was I bought stuff, made adjustments, went back to that chest. And here is Genin with his lackeys. I have my Falcon's Talons up to level 2, so it will kill these guys in one hit. And I think I had fixed camera on this whole time. I just got so involved in the fight. But you know, guillotine, throw the guys into the wall if they're close to you. Try to do charges. That charge didn't take because obviously it was interrupted. But I do quite a lot of charges, and the best thing about this fight that I love is the splash damage you get off the Izuna drop. And if I had upgraded my talons to level 3, the splash damage would... See, it's the best. That would have been more damage off him if my talons were upgraded more than they are now. But since they're not, and since I don't want to waste the money, and since I'm probably not going to use the talons that much afterwards, I just don't need it. So it's just one of those things. I mean, I just don't have very much money, that's the thing. So in the first video I mentioned that I just don't want to be too comfortable with the money factor, so I could, you know, do better, use fewer items. But just keep doing the fly swallows and the drop on all the lackeys. There's a lot of them, but I was committed here to not using any Nimpo, and it worked out well. Then once the lackeys are gone, we're gonna switch to, you know, you can switch to whatever you want. I'm gonna use the DCTF because I have it up to level 3, whereas with the sword it's only level 2, and this guy is a pretty big brawler. So this is a really fun fight. Challenging? Not really. If you're new to the game, it's challenging. But just, you know, before the fight, well, I didn't ensure that my loadout would be correct for the Armadillo, but just really watch out and don't jump too close to where Genin is. Obviously, in Chapter 2, I told you all about this anti-air attack that he has. It looks like we have one guy delim. The delim guys are just as annoying as the regular guys because they can still throw their daggers at you. But there's the last lackey right there. And I'm going to switch to my swords and just do the exact same technique that I taught you in the first video. It's just 4 Y attacks. When he combos out, and if your hits are not connecting, back off. If he's blocking too much, back off as well. And just don't jump because he's got that anti-air attack. And you can use whatever weapon you want. The lunar works well. The dragon sword works well as well. couple of chops. I'm going to back off. And my health is really low here. I have 4 lives with 1,000 gods that I haven't even used yet. So there's his dash attack. It's a great opportunity to go in for some hits. There's his twirling slash attack. Just evade. Just guard and evade. Go in for strikes when you think it's prudent to do so. At the times I mentioned. I think he gets one more really good hit off me before I actually kill him. And I risk quite a lot, but I realize that they're going to fill me up with the Armadillo. And just whatever camera situation works better for you. If you like the fixed camera, that's good. If you don't, just press the right bumper. It'll take that off so you can move the camera around yourself. See how my attack bounced off him right there, and then I backed off because I knew any more aggression on my part would be the end of me. But anyway, here's the Armadillo. All you need to do is just continually throw daggers at his face and avoid his rolling attack. Don't get too close to him or he will eat you and spit you out. You won't die unless you're low on health. And if worst comes to worst, just throw the void. See, I'm a little bit too close. The daggers stun him and take him out of his attacks as well. It's really great. See how he's about to attack, but then he stops because my explosion stopped him hitting me. But once he gets into 50% health, he's going to go into his rage mode, where he continually throws his fireballs at you. So I'm not even going to aim with the void. My void's at level 2. I would advise having it up to level 2 because it's going to be very handy in the next chapter as well. So just continually throw daggers, throw the void. He's going to go into OT status. Just press Y, and then make sure before you even start guarding, you put your loadout the way you want it. I want the dragon sword and I want my arrows because I'm going to need those. And then keep guarding. And I want the void as well. And then that's the end. I'll see you in chapter 8.